I was in the hospital with a condition that required a shunt to be put in, and had to go through meals and so on for about 4 days, and was listed as being diabetic or pre-diabetic. I lost both of my parents with health problems when I was 19, one from cancer and one from a heart condition. And so I've always tried to stay somewhat active and fit and never wanted to be diabetic.
The condition that brought me in here is type 2 diabetes. I'd had diagnosed about 20 years, and it was getting progressively worse, especially in the last 5 years.
In February of 2017, my health concerns became very prevalent because I was hospitalized. They found type 2 diabetes. And so my physician put me on medicine, which I had a lot of reactions to, and I really wanted to get healthy again and get off of those medications.
My A1C was about 10.5. I got it down through more medication to about 9.5, and then they put me on insulin and doubled that. Still didn't take it down where it needed to be. So I was looking for an alternative, a solution.
I had just seen a doctor about my diabetes health. My A1C was up to 8.7. I'd been on a roller coaster with my blood sugar. And he said, well, it's time to go to the next step. And that next step was going to an injectable in the side of my stomach. I have friends that they've gone blind from the diabetes, and they're only like 4 or 5 years older than me. So, I mean, there was fear that what might come in the future, you know, with limbs and your organs. I felt like I had hit a wall. I did not want to go on injections, and I knew what came after that too, and that was insulin. And that wasn't quite that far yet, but it just the injectable scared me. And then I was just driving the car back home, and then all of a sudden I heard a radio advertisement that talked about reversing diabetes.
I was slowing down prior to all of this. I was carrying way more weight than I ever had, and my kids were even concerned about my driving as a result. I decided to sign up, and I was skeptical at first. I have seen too many programs that promise big things and deliver less, but they're very pleased with what's happened, and I'm very glad I did.
Well, I'm due for testing, but I think it's around 7 now. It was 10.5 a couple years ago, so it's reduced tremendously. I thought that was the only thing I was going to be treated for, but they also found issues with my stomach. That was resolved. Hadn't been able to eat beef in 5 years that wasn't ground. They found a imbalance of candida bacteria, balanced that out about a 3 or 4 week period, and I'm eating steak a couple of times a week, very much enjoying it, and I have not had one stomach issue since then.
It was above 7.5 or 7.6, something like that, and my A1C came down to like 6. After a couple of months, my physician took me off of my medications, and so I am totally pleased with that.
Within a couple of months, I saw a big decrease. I went from 8.7 to 5.7, and then 2 months after that, I went down to 5.3. So one of the byproducts is that I've lost 30 pounds as a result of this. Oh, another byproduct was my blood pressure. I wasn't doing the program for blood pressure, but yet my blood pressure came into the normal range.
I believe it was in the 7 to 8 range on the A1C, and by the time I got out of that program, it was down a little bit, but it wasn't until I did this program that I really got down to the 5s, and I think I'm probably in the mid-5s now.
I have enjoyed the freedom of feeling good again, and being able to get on the floor and play with my grandkids, or do my gardening, or wear heels occasionally when I really want to.
People ask me, how did you do it? And I said, well, it's not easy, but it can be done.
I've even had friends say, well, the old Frank is back.
When I heard that news, I wept in the office. it was hard to speak. On the way home, I really wept, and I called my sister and shared this with her, and she said, "Finally, you have hope." So the next time she came over, she brought me a coffee mug, and that was a huge thing for me. I had hope.